Watching low elo play against Katarina is a bit rough. You guys make things so much harder than it actually is, especially in lane. Laning is the most important part of the game when it comes to countering Katarina, and it doesn't really matter what champion you pick, as she doesn't have many winning matchups. You might be thinking, doesn't she win against mages with skill shots? Well, she actually doesn't, but if she gets ahead, things can definitely get tricky. So obviously you need to abuse her weak laning phase, and I know what you're thinking, but even if I'm winning lane, she will just roam. Don't worry, we'll talk about that later in the video as well. So let's get started by looking at a game in Gold 2 where the player is on Malzahar versus Katarina. This player makes a lot of really common mistakes that you guys tend to make when playing versus Kat, and it's ugly from the start, so let's take it from the top. As laning starts, Malz uses his E on the minions, which is already a huge mistake. Katarina, like many other melee, is very weak at level 1. There is no reason whatsoever to use abilities on minions when Malz can just auto push the wave, and when Katarina walks up for CS, he can just use E on her instead. This is mistake number 1 when playing versus Katarina. You guys don't abuse how weak she is early on, levels 1 and 2 especially. You can win the lane in the first 2 levels. Malz has already missed out on a lot of potential harass with the useless E that we just talked about, and when Katarina walks up for CS, he should definitely be auto-attacking her. They both kind of just stand there and do nothing for a few seconds, then Malz grabs this last hit as Katarina approaches, and he turns around like this. It hurts to watch this kind of gameplay. Katarina is not even a champion at level 1, and she was just gifting Malz free harass for no reason, and he didn't do anything. No autos, no E. She didn't even have any CS to grab, so who knows why she walked up in the first place. Then Malz goes and uses E on a minion again. Luckily for him, Katarina is equally clueless, so she stands right next to the minion and the E spreads to her, and he hits her with an auto attack. I mean, look at that damage just from one auto and one E. He could be doing this multiple times already, and this is only at level 1. Remember when I said that you can win this lane in the first 2 levels? Well, this next part shows why. Malz is going to last hit this minion, which will get him level 2. Katarina shouldn't even come close to the wave when this happens, because Malz can hit her with E and autos, then use Q to reset the E. All of this could easily do 70% of Katarina's health, depending on how far up she goes and how many autos Malz can get in. But he doesn't do anything to her but hit her with an auto attack, so she just walks away. Imagine if he played level 1 properly and punished Katarina for disrespecting the level 2 spike. Kat would be in a terrible spot right now. Now we're going to see what happens when you fail to abuse her weak early game and make these crucial mistakes. So Malz just used his E on the minions for no reason, so his E is on cooldown for 10 seconds at this point. Katarina throws her Q to last hit this minion, and the dagger drops right on top of Malz, so she jumps to it and chunks him. Since he has no E, he just kites away and autos her, and then she jumps back in, getting even more damage down. Alright, we already talked about the first issue in this play. Malz used E on minions for no reason, so he didn't have it here. But he made the next really common mistake when going against Kat. You guys have to position around her Q. Malz was standing right behind a low health minion, so Kat could easily grab the last hit and put the dagger in a perfect spot to jump in. If Malz was positioned properly, which would be on the side of the wave, Kat would throw Q at the minion, then he can just walk right up and do whatever he wants to her as she poses no danger at all to him without him standing on the dagger. These are the fundamentals of playing against Kat. Also, she easily could have killed him there, but she misplayed as well. She just needed to ignite and keep auto attacking. Malz would flash away and she would use her last E to jump to him and finish him off. Anyway, now the third wave arrives and Malz is in a terrible spot. The wave isn't crashed on the tower and is basically frozen on Katarina's side of the lane. He can easily be ganked or just solo killed. He's going to do his best to safely clear some minions, but then we have the next big issue that I see all the time in low elo. Watch Katarina here. She's going to auto then E to grab this last hit. This means that she has no form of mobility for the next 14 seconds unless she grabs a dagger. You guys don't seem to track her E cooldown ever and just assume it's always up. This is easily one of the most important parts of playing versus Kat. When she doesn't have E because she uses it like this, you need to be in her face harassing her. She literally can't do anything about it. Malz just hit her with an E at least, but he should have used Q as well and tried to get some autos off. Alright, so let's fast forward a bit to when Mal's and Cat take their first recalls. This is a good time to talk about the roaming issue. Mal shoves Cat out of the lane, so she misses a wave. Basically, he's winning right now. The problem is, he should be winning by much more. We all saw the many mistakes that he made. He could have easily killed her multiple times by now. Winning lane as hard as possible makes it way less likely for Katarina to get kills while roaming, so that's the first problem. The second problem is going to be when Mal's is on his way back to mid and he sees Katarina clear the wave, then roam to bot. He doesn't ping her at all, but they might not listen anyway, so I don't think that this is the biggest deal. The third issue though is very important. Malzahar had TP, so if he was winning lane harder, like he should have been, he could TP to the wave before Katarina clears it. He can start pressuring her with his lead right away, and if she just leaves, he can freeze. But by holding TP, she crashes the wave and gets a roam timer. Something you guys don't understand is, if the wave is frozen and Katarina roams, it's very rare that it will be worth it for her unless she collects a huge wave from the lane that she roams to and gets multiple kills. So basically you would freeze, then as soon as she appears in another lane, you hard shove and take tower plates. You will always come out on top in a scenario like that, but you need to actually prevent her from crashing the wave to make this effective. Because of these mistakes, Katarina roams bot, Mal's TP's in late, and Katarina gets 2 kills while Mal's gets nothing. Just a disaster. Alright, now let's jump over to a high elo game now with a challenger mid laner playing Lux versus the best Katarina on the server, Cat Evolved. This is where we will see what it looks like when a player is playing properly versus Katarina, so that you can see how weak her laning really is. Right off the bat, we can see a difference. Notice Lux doesn't just throw her ability at the wave, she tries to hit Cat with it, but she dodges it. Now Lux is just last hitting because she wants to slow push, which will stack up 3 waves, and then she will crash it on the enemy tower. Then, Lux will be able to hard pressure the Katarina whenever she goes for last hits. This is a very standard ranged versus melee game plan. But Lux hits Katarina with an E, but doesn't follow up with any autos because he had last hits to grab. Then, Lux hits level 2, but notice, he doesn't try to walk up and hit Katarina with anything. This is because Katarina was 1 minion away from level 2 herself. So, Cat was prepared for the Lux Q to come out and would have used E to jump over it and onto Lux, or if Lux wasn't in range, she would just E to a minion and waste Lux's mana. Alright, now Lux is going to clear the next few minions and walk up as the third wave arrives. This is the one that Lux wants to clear and crash this wave on the tower with. For this wave, Lux is going to mainly focus on crashing the wave and not as much on harass. This is because the real harass windows are going to come once the wave is on the tower. Also, this is where Lux is easily ganked. Lux uses E on the wave and is almost done clearing it out, but Katarina starts posturing pretty aggressively, looking like she's going to go in. She's level 3 now, so she's actually a champion. The most important thing here is to hold your skill shots. It doesn't matter what mid laner you are, Katarina wins trades by blinking as you throw a skill shot. Lux does this perfectly and is very patient. Katarina jumps in and uses W to get move speed and try to dodge Lux's Q. Lux just holds it until Katarina tries to walk back to pick up the dagger, then she follows up with E and some more autos. Look how hard Katarina loses that trade. Lux didn't even have her shield because she put 2 points in E. So, Katarina played this in a very disrespectful way. She relied on Lux throwing her skill shots too early or just missing them when Katarina uses W for the move speed, but the Lux actually knows how to play against Cat, so it didn't work, and Cat was hard punished for it. See, it's crazy what happens when you actually have your abilities when Katarina jumps in. Sadly, Lux is going to get ganked, and even though she plays it nearly perfectly, she still dies. But she has TP, so now you can see what we were talking about earlier. Instead of holding the TP like Malzahar did, Lux TPs in and doesn't let the Katarina crash the wave. Now, Cat has to take a bad recall and she can't just roam or anything. She will lose way too much and is just coin flipping, hoping that she gets a triple kill along with a huge wave in a side lane. This TP also sets up a gank that gets Katarina to use flash. Lux holds this freeze for a solid 2 minutes, and because of the bad recall Cat had to take, Lux got an entire level lead after dying to a gank. This is how strong TP is, and you can see why it's such a big deal that Malz didn't TP back to lane earlier on. So now Lux is level 6 and is poking Cat down under tower. She tries to finish her with ult, but she misses. Katarina gets very disrespectful yet again though, trying to look for an all-in since Lux didn't have ult and has low mana, but Lux knows how to play against Katarina, so look how easy it is. She simply walks away from the daggers and doesn't throw any abilities when Katarina has her jump ready. Something really important to understand about Katarina is, when she picks up a dagger, it doesn't fully reset her E cooldown, like when she used Q here then jumped to the dagger. Her E cooldown is 3 seconds after she picks it up. That's why Lux can throw her Q here. This is how you only throw abilities when Kat doesn't have a way of jumping over or dodging them. Alright everyone, so now you see the most important part of countering Katarina. It's all in the laning phase. If you learn how to lane properly, it doesn't matter if she roams or anything like that. She is very weak in lane, and in low elo, they don't play anywhere near correctly, so you should be abusing it every time.
Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about Skill Capped. So, we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week, with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent challenger players into Elo Hell 714 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $4.99 a month if you are serious about improving.
But that's going to bring us to the end of this one. We hope that you all enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.